Good evening and welcome to our program here on Inside Bicol. Tonight I have a special guest. I'm sure that a lot of you will be surprised to know that my special guest is a full-blooded Bicolano. Let me now welcome our guest for tonight, Alfredo Imperial Ayala. Not Alfredo, perdón, Alfredo Imperial Ayala. I call him Freddy. Welcome, Freddy, to our program here on Inside Bicol.
Thank you very much, Fred, or I should say Tukayo.
Okay.
It really is a pleasure to be here on this program with you. Thank you for having me.
Right. Well, it's an opportunity for me to have here Freddy. Freddy here is the new president of the University of Nueva Cáceres. I'm sure that a lot of you watching is familiar with UNC. UNC is one of the oldest institutions here in Bicol and has produced a lot of successful businessmen, lawyers. That's why I think the UNC is very much familiar now to all of us. So it's really an honor for me to have here the president, the new president of the University of Nueva Cáceres. But I'm sure a lot of you would like to know more about the person that I'm interviewing here, especially those working overseas. You know, Freddie, we're also seen overseas because we upload it also on live streaming. So I'm sure a lot of them are curious to know, who is Alfredo Imperial Ayala?
Well, okay, that could be a short story,
Right.
or it could be a long story. I'll give you a medium
Sure.
version. First of all, I should just say, Fred, that it really is a homecoming for me. And it's very special to be coming back to Naga. My mother is Mineta Reyes Imperial. Her family is originally from Pili, but of course she grew up in Naga. And she used to take us here when I was maybe 11 or 12 was the last time she took us here. Back then we would take the PNR railway to come here.
PNR.
PNR.
Right.
And so some very fond memories of our visits here. Then for a long time we moved to the US. When my father passed away when I was quite young, my mother moved us back to the US. So it had been quite some time. My wife and I decided to move the family back from the US in 2006 to join Ayala Corp and to start our BPO businesses. But I started to come to Naga again in 2009 when I think 2009 when I started to compete in the Cobra Ironman here in CWC. So that was a very nice reconnection with Naga. But you know, we have been looking all over the country for great schools to invest in. And this really was not by design that we said, let's come to Naga. I think we were blessed and fortunate enough that the family of the founder approached us and explained to us that they were looking for a partner to come in. And so we can talk about that more in a bit, Fred.
Yeah, sure.
But just to complete the homecoming story, yesterday was a holiday, so I had a bit of time to kill. So I decided to visit Barlin Square, which is where my mother grew up, and visit the site of the old La Milagrosa Hospital, which my grandfather, Dr. Arsenio Imperial, and his wife Severa had started. And I think that's where my mom grew up. So it really was somehow serendipity, through fate. We've ended up investing in UNC, one of I think the oldest school in southern Luzon, which happens to be a 5-minute walk from where my mother grew up.
Right.
So my mother, of course, is very excited about this, but also is putting a lot of pressure on me to make sure we do a good job.
Of course.
With UNC. So we're very committed to doing that.
Right, okay. Now, I understand you also studied in Ateneo de Manila.
That's right, Fred. So when we came back from the States, I entered prep, Ateneo de Manila, and studied at the Ateneo all the way until my junior year in high school. That's when my father passed away and my mom moved us to the US.
Okay, and then which university did you go in America?
I went to Brown University, which is in Rhode Island, and I studied economics and development studies.
Right. I was looking into your resume and I found out that you also went to Harvard.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right. A long time ago, but that's where I got my MBA.
Okay. So after finishing your business school, did you immediately work with any company in America, or what kind of field were you involved?
I started, Fred, in investment banking, first in New York and then in Hong Kong, and then progressed into private equity. So some partners and I started a fund, which then started investing in companies throughout Southeast Asia, and ended up investing in one of the first BPO companies in the Philippines. So this is in SPI. This is back in 1999.
Okay.
And then several of us started one of the first call center companies called eTelecare.
Okay.
This is back in 2000 when literally there were no call centers. Hard to believe,
Okay.
right? But back then this was considered a very novel idea in 2000. And we were fortunate enough to, together with many people, able to build eTelecare into one of the leaders. It eventually combined with other companies and grew up to be a 40,000 person company, of which 15,000 were in Manila, and have since combined that with Convergys. So it was a very good experience for me to come back from the US, excuse me, and help contribute to an industry which really has been one of the main engines of growth in the country today.
I think that's very timely here in Naga about the field that you're in. So, aside from being an investment banker, you were also involved in the BPO.
That's right.
More or less, that's what I'm getting, no? With that, and I would suppose that you have made some contacts also with those different BPOs who are really in need. Now, how did you come to be part of the Ayala?
Okay, so I think I had been abroad for quite some time, but my colleagues at Ayala Corp were interested in entering the BPO sector, and we had discussions about coming back to see how we could add that to the portfolio of activities of Ayala Corp. So we've invested in several different BPO companies, but I think what's interesting is how that then led to our investment in education, because it is really that experience that made us realize that the global demand for Filipino talent is so huge. So I think I mentioned to you, we helped to start one of the first call center companies in 2000. That
Okay.
industry has grown to 1 million people, from almost zero just 15 years ago to 1 million people, and we're targeting 1.3 million people now by next year.
Okay.
And the demand continues to grow.
Yeah, perhaps it would be good if you can also tell our viewers about the BPO. What is this BPO all about? Because a lot of people, when they talk about, are more associated with the call center. So
Yes.
perhaps you can tell us more. What is really the focus of the BPO? What's the difference?
Okay,
between the call
thank you,
center?
Fred. That's a great question. I've been very active in IBPAP, which is the IT BPO Association of the Philippines. And through IBPAP, we've been really able to see how diverse BPO, actually the IT BPO industry is. There is, of course, the call center piece, which is very important and is still the largest employer within the industry. But within call center, there's a whole range of activities, from simple customer inquiry to technical support to advanced financial services advice. So there's a whole range there. But if you look at let's say some of the companies we have invested in, it's progressed from voice to non-voice, where you have finance, you have accounting, you have HR, but it includes legal. For example, we have several hundred lawyers that are doing a lot of work for companies offshore. You have analytics, you have research. So there's really, BPO actually means anything that can be done by phone or by computer. And we know today that's just about
Right.
everything, right?
That's true.
So that's really a fantastic opportunity for the Philippines because we have so many talented people. Now geography is not an issue. They can participate in the global economy without having to leave. In fact, that is the tagline of the IT BPO industry, which is work abroad but live at home,
Okay.
right?
Well, I think there's something for UNC with the directions that you're pursuing right now. We will pause for a while. When we return, we shall continue with our discussion. Don't go away.